Getting a look live at the beautiful sights of Portland, Oregon, here in the Pacific Northwest, home of the Portland Fleet. They're playing at the Shipyard here tonight, playing host to the Baltimore Vultures here in Week 2 of Season 17 of the Simulation Football League. Welcome inside the Shipyard, everybody. Eric Benson alongside Josh Zirkle, Tyler Falk, and Justin Reside in the Stats Truck here tonight. And Josh, Portland, they laid a bit of an egg in Week 1, and Baltimore did anything but.
Yeah, Baltimore looked pretty good, Eric. Good evening. We got a front row seat to history tonight. The first ever matchup between these two teams. Baltimore, as you mentioned, just 1 week removed from hanging 57 on Los Angeles, and they're continuing their West Coast swing, taking on a Portland team that can run the ball as well as any other team in the league. Ezekiel Love had an outstanding first year at running back in Season 16, over 1,500 total yards from scrimmage, and he's going to need a big game to keep Portland in this one, Eric. Love is listed at only 200 pounds on the roster, but tonight, he's got the whole team on his back.
He's going to have to play big, and rookie quarterback O.J. Bruin is going to have to play big as well, as he had a bit of a rough outing in Week 1. And we are at midfield for the coin toss. Baltimore coming out white jerseys, black pants, and Portland coming out in those bright uniforms here tonight. I believe that's blue and maybe a highlighter green in there. Maybe that's orange.
There's a lot going on there. There's a rich tapestry of color and excitement in that Portland Fleet uniform.
I love it. Easy to tell who's who.
Yeah, I'm excited to see O.J. Bruin tonight. 6th overall pick, went right behind Tommy Utah in the SFL draft. This is a 2-year minor league quarterback that a lot of people are excited to see and thought he should have been drafted after just 1 year. And it's still going to be a learning process as he develops for Portland in the big leagues. And I'm excited to get my first look at him tonight.
Look, he's got to make me sound good, because I said at the beginning of the season that he was going to be looking good for Portland and carry them into the playoffs. We'll see here tonight as the foot is into the football and we are underway here in Oregon. The ever-dangerous Giovanni Bolt with the return. He's going to bounce it out to the far sideline, get close to the 30-yard line, mark him just shy at the 29. Jack Wigmore coming out to lead the offense for the Baltimore Vultures. And they've got plenty of weapons on offense, retained a lot of the weapons from a season ago, and we'll see what his first series looks like here tonight.
Very excited to see Wigmore had over 506 yards, part of that big air show we saw in Week 1 of the SFL season.
Starting off with a pass, Wigmore going to check it down far sideline as the rookie Jimmy Hazard with his first catch. And he will make it out to the 34-yard line. Get a look at the rest of the Baltimore Vultures on offense. Jack Wigmore at quarterback. We mentioned him. Jimmy Hazard with the reception there. T-Roy Gaines makes the shift to full. Ivory Irvin, Daly Holder, Mac Chima, the wide receivers, and Lloyd Graham Jr., the tight end, big number 83. Offset I formation for 2nd and 5. Wigmore to throw again. Screen over to Hazard. Good spin move. And he will make it 3rd and very, very short out to the Baltimore 38. We'll get a look at the defense for the Portland Fleet quickly. Robert Breuer, Derwin Nuevo, Bernard Patterson, and Gary Burney all on the defensive front for Mel Davis, big-time linebacker number 52. Gary Clem, Khalil Thomas rounds out the linebacking core. Chris Stack, Derek Majors, Leo Morris, Bob Funk, and Shawn Allen, the defensive secondary, as Hazard gets the first down out to the Baltimore 40-yard line, fresh set of downs.
Yeah, one of the things I loved about Jimmy Hazard watching him in San Jose is his versatility. He's a guy that can run between the tackles, outside the tackles, and also catch the ball out of the backfield. He can block a little bit as well. And Jimmy Hazard is the kind of player that you would move T-Roy Gaines over to fullback for. I can't say that about a lot of other players that were coming out of the draft.
Wigmore throws top of the screen. That's caught by Lloyd Graham Jr., his first catch of the evening. Good for 4 out to the 45-yard line as Baltimore continues to roll.
Graham Jr. picking up where he left off last week, had 10 catches. That led the team, found the end zone, 69 yards in total. Doing just that. Those little out routes, getting out of bounds, possession catches, keeping the chains moving.
Wigmore again working that screen. Hazard with another catch. and he is ushered out of bounds on the far sideline at the 48-yard line, going to be 3rd and short coming up, as number 41, Gary Clem, the linebacker, made the stop.
And some people might have been expecting Baltimore to just start taking big shots against this Portland defense after hanging 57 just a week ago on Los Angeles. We're not seeing that right now. We're seeing a very patient Jack Wigmore taking what the defense is giving him.
Portland content to stack the box as T-Roy gets the carry, and he goes nowhere. Maybe gets half a yard on the carry, but Portland was ready for it in the 3rd and short situation. That was Clem once again with the stop, and Baltimore will have to punt.
And you and I talked a little bit before the broadcast, Eric, about how much T-Roy Gaines and Jimmy Hazard would be used in tandem if there was going to be maybe a thunder and lightning situation, or if Jimmy Hazard were going to get the bulk of the carries. It's still hard to say after this first series.
And Baltimore actually will not punt. Looks like the offense is staying out on the field, and they wanted to get the jump off sides by Portland. Instead, they'll have to burn their first timeout with 8:25 to go in the opening frame.
I'm generally not a fan of that move. It doesn't work very often. Sometimes it does work, and I understand why teams feel like they have to do it. But if you're going to do it, you want to do it in the first half where your timeouts aren't as valuable, and do it close to midfield where punting is not such a costly proposition. Now Baltimore has a chance to put a coffin corner punt here inside the 10, or maybe better than that.
A fond good evening to Tim Hacksaw in the chat, as Baltimore will get their first punt of the evening here. And fielded at about the 15-yard line, get a couple of yards, and it was a good punt by Pablo Gates. And Portland will set up shop at the 17-yard line. And here comes the rookie, O.J. Bruin, out to lead the troops. And what should we expect from him tonight, Josh?
Well, O.J. Bruin, I think, is a guy that does not have exceptionally strong tools. He's not really nimble in the pocket. He's not really a strong passer. He's really good at playing quarterback, though. 2nd in completion percentage and 3rd in touchdown passes in Season 3 of the SFL minor league.
Bruin will throw to start things off. He's got a wide open man towards the bottom of the screen. Good spin move to get some extra yardage by Gene Valentine. And he will make it out to the 25-yard line, gain of 8 on first down. Get a look at the rest of the stars for the Fleet on offense. O.J. Bruin at quarterback. Ezekiel Love, we talked about him. John Trusman, the fullback. That will round out the backfield for the Fleet. And we've got Art Vandelay, Gene Valentine, we saw on that catch. Benjamin Warner and Nelson Lozano Jr. at tight end. As this time, Love gets the handoff, and he goes nowhere. Tackle made by number 56, Alvin Mack.
Alvin Mack, 120 tackles in Season 16. That put him at number 4 on the SFL leaderboard. Had 9 TFLs in that season also. Had himself a TFL last week. And you can see, getting himself early into the action here.
Another handoff to Zeke, and he's going to plow forward to the 23. He might get a yard on the play. They might just mark it as no gain. Either way, ends up being a 3-and-out for Portland to start things off.
Yeah, and this Baltimore front 7 is actually very good. They've got a bunch of meat up front. Al Walker, Nate Brown, Tucker Lewis, and of course the blockbuster Ciron Yates IV. I didn't see the first 3 Ciron Yateses, but I'm sure they were at least as good as this one.
Fair catch called for and made by Giovanni Bolt right around the 44-yard line, and Baltimore will take over for their second possession of the ball game in good field position with 6:52 to go in the opening quarter.
Good field position and a little bit of momentum as well, Eric. Jack Wigmore, 4 for 4 on that last drive. According to our stats, sitting on a QBR of 83.3 right now. And they're looking like they're going to deal here on first down.
Yep, definite passing formation here for Wigmore as he comes out in the gun, 4 wide, trips towards the bottom of the formation, over the middle, caught, first down yardage out to the Portland 45-yard line as Graham Jr. makes another catch. This one will move the chains.
Yeah, Graham Jr. getting busy here, 6'6", 246. When you have a big tight end like that, Eric, it really opens up your imagination in terms of what you could run between the second and third levels. You could really put Lloyd Graham anywhere on the field, and he's a good candidate to catch the ball.
Bunch receivers this time towards the top of the screen. Wigmore throws a duck and somehow completes it. Ivory Irvin is going to waltz it into the end zone untouched. Touchdown, Baltimore.
8 touchdowns last season for Ivory Irvin. He had 2 last week. Hit the 100-yard mark against Los Angeles as well. And this is an early gift. You're going to see the replay here. This is nothing special, except maybe by this ball by Wigmore. Look at that quail, but it hits Ivory Irvin in stride. And the defender obviously trying to play the ball, leaving him all alone. Bob Funk can't catch him. Baltimore gets on the board first.
Yeah, Chris Stack was looking to bat the football away, instead just completely whiffed, and Ivory Irvin had a clear path to the end zone for the first score of the ball game. Baltimore looking to go up 7-0 on the foot of Shark Tarkington. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and through for a 7-0 ball game as Baltimore drives down the field and takes the lead in the opening quarter as they go just a couple plays for 56 yards, a 45-yard passing touchdown from Wigmore to Ivory Irvin.
Yeah, and this is what we were all concerned about early in this game. Is Baltimore going to settle the affair early? We're very close to that.
Portland's going to field it right around the goal line, and tackle's going to be made right around the 24-yard line. Portland will take over at that point there.
Well, Eric, we got all kinds of interesting things happening in this game. And now O.J. Bruin is going to get another look at this Baltimore defense, a very stout unit. We talked about the front seven, but these defensive backs are very serious also. And Bruin's going to have to be careful here.
Portland coming out, light blue, dark blue, orange trim as Bruin throws across the middle. That's caught and breaking tackles, but eventually making it a 5-yard gain out to the 29-yard line for Portland. And that was number 81, Art Vandelay, with the catch.
And Vandelay is a veteran receiver. All these guys are veteran receivers especially, but Vandelay is someone that Bruin can rely on. 53 balls last season. Had 6 last week, emerging as perhaps a favorite target of O.J. Bruin.
Bruin got a throw over the middle. That's caught, but a fumble is called as Baltimore recovers it near midfield. And Vandelay with the catch and fumble, or at least that was the call on the field. I don't know if I agree with that, though, Josh.
Yeah, I don't know either. They're going to get another look at this. Although that, compared to what some of the other plays that I've seen, he does catch the ball and bring it into his body, which is more than we've seen some other guys. But credit to Keenan Samuels, who slid to his knees and scooped that up and gives R62 a very difficult decision to make here.
And he's going to go under the hood as the challenge flag has been thrown out by Mel Davis and the Flea. We'll get another look here ourselves. And it's a pretty bang-bang play, a great play. Actually, Troy Loshaw went in and jarred the football loose. We'll have to see what the referees have to say. And it looks like Mel Davis wins that challenge there, so it's going to be an incomplete pass, and Portland will keep the football.
And I think that was the right decision. But again, I've seen that call go both ways. You just can't look at it, Eric, and assume that you know which way Art 62 is going to decide it. That fickle gentleman has a mind of his own.
Bruin shuffling in the pocket, and he's going to get sacked. Back at about the 20-yard line is where he will fall. And that defensive front four for Baltimore is ever dangerous. Al Walker, the defensive end, getting in there for the stop.
Al Walker hit the SFL leaderboard in sacks last season, had 7.5. And last week had 3 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. A big reason why Los Angeles had trouble getting out of the gate, and a big reason they spent a lot of time doing this, punting the football.
Portland again is going to have to punt the football. And Baltimore will be set up with decent field position once again. Giovanni Bold electing to return it this time, and he'll get about the same point that he did last time, the 45-yard line of Baltimore. And they made quick work the last time around, scoring a touchdown on the last drive.
Yeah, good coverage by the Portland special teams there. Not giving Giovanni Bolton, and he is a guy that you mentioned that can break one. He really hasn't had a chance to do that, at least so far in this game.
Offset I formation for the Vultures. Wigmore under center. He's going to hand it off to Hazard. Hazard following his blockers near sideline, and he's going to get a big chunk of yards out to the Portland 33-yard line. Big run by the rookie, Jimmy Hazard.
Yeah, huge 20-yard scamper, and nobody really touched him. Watch the replay here. There's just great blocking along the side. You can't get a great look at it there, but there's a tremendous block by Mac Chima, the wide receiver. You'd love to see that. Wide receivers blocking downfield and help spring Hazard and move the chains for Baltimore.
Bob Funk with the tackle there to prevent further damage, but it will move the sticks nonetheless as Baltimore sets up shop with a fresh set of downs. 1st and 10 from the Portland 33, 5 wide, 3 towards the top of the screen. Wigmore, quick pass over the middle, caught. First down yardage inside the 20 to the 14-yard line.
And look who it is, Chima, making a big block on the last play, making a big catch on this play. Had 8 catches, 161 yards last week. He's eager to keep that ball rolling. Only had 600 yards as a receiver for all of season 16, Eric. And he's probably 25% of the way toward that total. And we're barely 1 1/4 games into the season.
From the 14, handoff to T-Roy, and T-Roy will get propelled forward to the 11 for a gain of 3 as he got gang tackled right around the line of scrimmage.
And I think this is pretty clear that Baltimore intends to give T-Roy a decent amount of volume despite the presence of Jimmy Hazard. And I'll be watching that as the season goes on, but it's nice to see. I mean, T-Roy had an outstanding season last year, was off a bit of his usual pace, but still has a lot of gas left in the tank.
Another handoff, this time to Hazard. Good sidestep move, and he's going to get close to the first down marker. They'll mark him just shy. Call it 3rd and a chest hair at the Portland 4.
And Jimmy Hazard is growing some chest hair with the fortitude on that run. And that's just something that he has always done. His ability to miss contact, to avoid being tackled. Does not break a lot of tackles, but doesn't have to because he's so good at avoiding them.
And you get a look at the unofficial marker there right on top of the line to gain as Wigmore takes the snap on 3rd and short, fires it down to the near sideline, intended for Lloyd Graham Jr., but led him just too far out of bounds. And Baltimore will presumably come out with a field goal unit to attempt the easy 3.
I'd love to see him go for it here on 4th and inches. But kicking the field goal and going up 10-0 early in the first quarter, I don't think is a terrible idea. That said, I'm not a fan of the play call here. Lloyd Graham Jr., a little too far out of bounds. The timing was off. There's just a lot to dislike about that particular play call.
Well, and we just talked about it. You have 2 accomplished running backs. Jimmy Hazard ran for a ton in the SFL minor league, and obviously a back like T-Roy Gaines, you would think you would hand it off to either one of those guys in order to get the first down, but a pass was called, and an incompletion results in a 4th down. Tarkington comes on for a chippy here, and he will knock it through from 21 yards, a 10-0 ball game now for Baltimore. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. Tarkington boots it down the field. Portland will get another opportunity at a return. And the 27-yard line is where they will go, courtesy of Leo Morris on the return. And Portland just hasn't had a ton of activity to speak of on the offensive end as they've had to punt on their last couple drives.
Yeah, and they really need to find a way to get Ezekiel Love going. And I'm not sure specifically what the best way to do that is. A lot of pressure on O.J. Bruin now. And if Baltimore continues to score, that pressure is only going to accumulate.
Bruin will take the snap in the gun, throws it over the middle, bopped off his shoulder pad and still caught. What a catch made. I believe that was Art Vandelay on the catch. It was, as he gets first down yardage out to the 39-yard line. And that will move the chains for Portland for the first time tonight.
Portland due for a break finally. Guess what? Hits Art Vandelay in the helmet, and somehow he turns around and lowers his hands enough to catch that football and then saunters over the line to gain to get Portland a first down.
Bruin finally feeling good about the offense as he comes out in a heavy set. Strong side towards the bottom of the screen. Bruin will throw. 7-step drop. He's going to air it out deep. He's got a man wide open behind the defense, and Portland is going to put one on the board. Nelson Lozano Jr. Touchdown Fleet.
Lozano gets behind the defense, and Bruin puts it right on the money. Lozano had to make a minor adjustment to that ball, but once he got it, he was gone. There was nobody going to catch him. And you see just a great route here. It looked like Frank Smith, number 42, was expecting help, and I would think that a linebacker on a tight end would get a little help, but Giovanni Bolt can't get to the scene in time. Nelson Lozano catch and run, and he is gone.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Fleet as they make quick work of that drive there. 2 plays, 73 yards, 61 yards through the air from Bruin to Lozano Jr.
And all coming one play after that helmet catch, Eric. Art Vandelay catching that ball and sauntering over the line to gain. That was their first down of the game. And look what happened one play after that. Touchdown.
A very fortuitous play for the Fleet as David John adds the extra point to make it a 3-point ball game here at home in the Shipyard. And, man, we've got some fireworks here in the first quarter with 2:06 left to go, and we'll see what we have upcoming in store for us here.
Yeah, Baltimore getting a little test here. You know, last week when they faced LA, that game was relatively, you don't want to say it was over, but Baltimore jumped out to a clear lead and just did not have a lot to work for. Los Angeles took quite a while getting out of first gear in that game. Portland looking like they're having a little bit more success. It is just 2 plays from that offense, but it's a start, and it's only a 3-point difference now.
Yeah, and Portland, speaking of slow starts, they had a bit of a slow start themselves last week against Houston as, Dave Burr just torched that defense, unfortunately, for the Portland Fleet faithful. And the Fleet are looking to bounce back here at home. And they have so far in a big way as Wigmore is in trouble. He gets pancaked back at the 22-yard line as 2 members of the defensive line sandwich him there. Big number 96 gets in there, and that was Derwin Nuevo with the sack. Number 92 gets in there, Robert Brower as well.
Yeah, nice little rip move. And Nuevo, you don't see a lot of sacks in this league coming from the edge, but Nuevo had a burst of speed, got right through his blocker. Wigmore had nowhere to go.
So Baltimore comes out with an I formation, 2nd and 16.
Wow.
Wigmore in trouble once again. He's going to get sacked back at the 11-yard line as number 94 gets in there this time. It's 64, Bernard Patterson. 3 of the 4 defensive linemen, get in for sacks to start things off on this drive.
Yeah, Patterson last week did not have a sack or a TFL despite having 9 last season. Gets in there on the twist, amazingly enough, did not get picked up. Offensive line confused, got himself a sack.
Baltimore in trouble here, but Wigmore throws the strike to Ivory Irvin for the first down and more into Portland territory at the 48-yard line, and this is where the Vultures offense can burn you.
Absolutely. This time the offensive line picks up the twist. Wigmore has time to throw. Irvin manages to get past his defender. That's number 25, Derek Majors, and I don't know if he was getting help over the top or not, but Irvin had no problem catching that ball. It was 1 tackle away for breaking that for 6.
A great route run by Ivory Irvin there as he's caught both of his targets here tonight. And that one, a big one there to convert a 3rd and long as T-Roy gets a handoff there. He goes for nowhere. In fact, he'll lose a couple back to midfield.
And the defensive line, again, that's Gary Burney. Had 4 tackles for loss last week, 13 on the previous season. Getting one there. This Portland defense showing up. They're going to shut this Baltimore offense down or die trying.
Might get one more play in before the end of the quarter as Wigmore takes the snap, throws it down towards the bottom of the screen, caught by Chima, and he's going to make it out to the Portland 44-yard line, and that is where we will end things here in the first quarter of action. Baltimore with a slim 3-point lead, but they are driving coming up on the second quarter live on For the Fans Twitch channel. Third and 5 from the Portland 44-yard line Fresh 11 minutes on the clock for the second quarter as Wigmore comes out with 4 wide, 3 towards the top of the screen. Wigmore over the middle into coverage and incomplete. A stop finally by the Portland Fleet, as it looks like Baltimore was just unstoppable there for the last couple drives. And I think they might punt here, but we might see some shenanigans from Baltimore.
Yeah, this is 4-down territory for a lot of folks, and it looks like the punter is out on the field. But Portland doing a nice job of getting pressure on Wigmore, making him think about some of those throws. That's probably the first time he's had to do so this season.
Gates with another punt. He's going to try and pin the Fleet back deep. That will bounce right around the 9-yard line. Baltimore is going to stop it just before the end zone. They will mark it down at the 4. So Portland will have to go 96 yards to hit pay dirt and take the lead.
Pablo Gates got to be very pleased with that punt. The zesty special teams play by the Vultures. And O.J. Bruin is getting a little taste of everything here in his first 2 games of the SFL. Let's see what happens in the shadow of his own goalpost.
First 2 games in the league, right? You get Houston and then you get Baltimore. Not a great draw there for the Rook. Ezekiel Love gets a handoff there, and he'll lose a couple yards back to the 2-yard line, getting closer and closer to the shadow of their own end zone.
Yeah, Ezekiel Love having trouble going. 3 carries, -4 yards by our statisticians, Tyler Falk and Justin Reside in the stats truck. That's got to change if Portland's going to stay in this game.
Loaded backfield this time for Portland. Another handoff. Ezekiel Love with the carry, trying to follow some blocks. And he'll get a little bit of breathing room out to the 9. That'll set up 3rd and manageable.
Yeah, I like the adjustment. You bring the fullback in, you bring the backup tight end in, and you go heavy set. And you give O.J. Bruin as much help as you possibly can. You give O.J. Bruin a little more breathing room. I'm still not sure you'd want to throw it here even on 3rd and medium.
Distinct possibility with this formation, though, as Portland will throw. Bruin has time, got to throw it over the middle into coverage and incomplete. The football was jarred loose as he was looking for Jean Valentin, and it hits the turf. Portland will have to punt, and Baltimore will get good starting field position once again off of a punt return.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the play call. I think that O.J. Bruin threw that ball into traffic trying to make something happen maybe. And now you're going to end up punting anyway. I would have preferred to see Love just run it upfield, maybe get a couple yards, and just add some yardage to the punt.
Quick punt there by Portland. That was Dominic Birkin with the punt, and it is a short one out to the 37-yard line. And Giovanni Bolt is content with that field position to hand it over to Wigmore and company. And that is where they will start things off with this next possession. LA off to a hot start over on the SFL Twitch page, up to a 17-point lead over the St. Louis Gladiators. Certainly want to stay tuned for that as well.
That's unbelievable after the beatdown Baltimore gave Los Angeles. Los Angeles paying it forward now to the Gladiators.
Meanwhile, in this game, Wigmore going to take over from the gun, and he misfires there as he overthrows Irvin down the near sideline, incomplete.
And that was incredibly incomplete, Eric. And I don't know if he was throwing that into the wind or what, or with the wind. But that ball just seemed to sail. A bit of a surprise, and that may be another byproduct of that Portland pass rush, giving Jack Wigmore something to think about.
Wigmore sets up under center this time. Portland stacking the box. Quick throw by Wigmore will only be good for maybe a couple. Mark it for 3 as Lloyd Graham Jr. throws some toe drag swag along the far sideline and mark him down at the 34.
And Graham Jr. been busy. What is it, 5 targets, 6 targets already for him so far. Very impressive, a very reliable piece of this offense for Jack Wigmore. And his day is far from over yet. We're going to see a lot more of him as this game goes on.
Good numbers for Wigmore to start things off, over 140 yards and a passing touchdown. You mentioned the weather, 79 degrees up here in the Pacific Northwest, and a 7-mile-an-hour wind here at the shipyard as Baltimore will move the chains once again, this time courtesy of Matt Chima as he makes it out to the 23-yard line, approaching 9 minutes to go here in the first half.
Yeah, very nice corner route by Chima, found the seam in the defense. And Wigmore put it right on the money. When you're able to do that in this league, the sky's the limit in terms of what you can do offensively.
Trips towards the top of the formation this time. Wigmore throws towards the bottom here, and he's got Jimmy Hazard as he tries to break several different fleet tackles, and he will get a couple of yards out to the 20-yard line. LA just continues to pour it on. We keep seeing the scoreboard get adjusted on our screen here, and man, oh man, what is happening over in LA?
That is wild. You know, home field matters, Eric. It could be just Los Angeles happy to be back in their digs.
Big advantage for the Werewolves. The Lycans themselves in LA, as Hazard gets a carry and is able to squeeze his way through out to the 16-yard line. 3rd and 3 coming up. Visit the SFL League website at simulationfl.net for info on how to create a player to join our community, the league, and the teams that play in it. We also have a comprehensive history of the SFL. It's over 1,500 games, and it's thousands of players who have hit the virtual field. The Simulation Football League, 17 seasons strong, as Wigmore is going to complete the pass there, and I believe that is Lloyd Graham Jr. with another catch and another first down out to the 11-yard line. First down as Wigmore's numbers continue to swell.
And Wigmore's not really throwing it deep, but he's stretching the field horizontally, working from sideline to sideline. Chima and Graham Jr., I believe his second catch of this drive, and he is doing all he can to stretch that Portland secondary, and so far finding some results.
I formation for Wigmore. Short drop, going to throw an out route once again, and this time he finds one of the extra receivers on the play, number 87, and that will be a catch and a reception out to the 6-yard line. That was actually Daly Holder with the catch.
Yeah, Holder had 5 catches last week, also hit the 100-yard mark, 2 touchdowns, including a 94-yard strike. Holder, a bit more modest gain this time, but it gets Holder in the game. First catch.
And off to Hazard as he tries to break through the line of scrimmage, and he'll get a couple out to the Portland 3. Ironic that they don't really call it a 3rd and goal. It's a 3rd and 3 from the 3, but, football.
Yeah, the line to gain inside the 1, it's basically 3rd and goal. And I think the play calling here is the same. I think you give it to Jimmy Hazard, run him to one side or the other, let him try and make something happen.
And Hazard will get the carry, but Portland was ready for it as they stop him right at the line of scrimmage. No gain, and Baltimore will have to come on for a field goal attempt. Chris Stack with the tackle.
And what a tremendous stop for this Portland defense. And twice now you've held Baltimore to a field goal. And you're getting pressure on the quarterback. You're managing to corral Jimmy Hazard to an extent. You just need to guard the sidelines a little bit more. And that's where most of the Baltimore yardage came from on that drive. Those passes to the sidelines.
Tarkenton with another chippy here tonight. He's got field goals from 21 and 20 here tonight as he adds 3 to the Baltimore scoreboard. They are now up by 6, but the last time Baltimore kicked a field goal, Portland answered with a touchdown of their own to draw within 3. We'll see if they can take the lead on this next possession.
And O.J. Bruin right now 4 of 6 for 86 yards. Has the touchdown pass. Quarterback rating looking pretty stout right now, 149.3.
Leo Morris with the return, eventually slapped down at the 25-yard line. He's feeling good about life, though, as he pops back up, does a little dance, and Portland will take over for their next possession at the 25. And that was the last possession. It was a 3 and out for Portland, but just a possession before that, 2 plays, 73 yards, and they made mincemeat of the Baltimore defense. We'll see if they can do that here and take the lead at home.
It starts with Ezekiel Love. Start getting some first downs here.
And Zeke will get the carry here, and he'll bounce it out to the outside, get a gain of 4 out to the Portland 28-yard line as we approach the 6-minute mark here in the first half of play.
And they worked hard to get those 4 yards. Zeke needed a lot of blocks, needed to avoid a tackle behind the line, almost break a tackle at the line, and keep moving forward. That is a lot of work to do for 4 yards over the course of a game.
Offset single back is Ezekiel Love. Bruin he's thrown, but he completes the catch anyway out across the middle of the field. And that will move the chains courtesy of Jean Valentin.
And Valentine and Vandelay as well. And you could say the same thing about Benjamin Warner. These are all third-year guys. Lozano Jr. also a third-year guy. And they're really going to have to do a lot of work to help OJ Bruin here. And Valentine showing some of that, how some of that work is done.
Bruin wants to air it out, and he somehow threads the needle. What a throw and what a catch by Art Vandelay. He has had a big first half here this evening.
And that's the kind of work I'm talking about. You see Vandelay just running the post, going up and going to get it in triple coverage, basically. That's number 39, Austin Brigham. Brigham had 2 interceptions last week. He was looking for one right there. Vandelay just fought him off to get that ball, to get his quarterback a completion and his offense a first down.
And Loshaw is a ball hawk himself. He is looking to hang out in center field and pick that football off. Not to be that time around, as Portland will get a free play here, as Ezekiel Love will make it out close to the 30-yard line, but the Fleet will get a free 5 yards on the offsides.
Now we're seeing mistakes out of Baltimore here. Baltimore jumping offsides. Portland putting a little bit of a drive together here to try and close out the first half with some points. Have a chance to tie this up or maybe even do a little better than that. Portland starting to win some of the inertia that Baltimore had at the start of this game.
Al Walker, the guilty party, the defensive end on the far sideline there, as he will give the Fleet a free 5 yards. 1st and 5 from the Baltimore 28 now. Heavy formation, I formation for the Fleet, as Love tries to bounce to the outside. He will go nowhere, as he is met right at the line of scrimmage, actually prior to the line of scrimmage, and that was Frank Smith on the tackle.
Yeah, Frank Smith had a TFL last week and gets another one here. And when you have 3 tight ends and a fullback in like that, that absolutely cannot happen. You've got to give Love a chance to get out of his own backfield and make a play. That's not going to get it done. But credit to Frank Smith for making a play.
And off again to Love, and again, he goes nowhere. And again, it's one of the linebackers, Keenan Samuels this time, gets in on the stop. This time for no gain, brings up 3rd and 7 from the 30.
Man, Samuels only had a couple tackles last week. Not too much going on there. They're expecting a lot out of him. They brought him in this past offseason to help shore up that linebacking course. So far, so good.
Inside of 4 minutes to go here in the half. Bruin in trouble. He's going to get sacked. Back at the 35-yard line, a very productive set of downs there for the Baltimore defense as Sir Ron Yates, the 4th, gets in there for the sack.
Sir Ron Yates, the blockbuster, getting in there, making a big play on 3rd down when it matters. The distance of that sack could have taken points off the board here, as we're seeing Birkin to come out and punt.
Yeah, that sack definitely knocked him out of field goal range, as Birkin, as you mentioned, forced to punt the football here for the Fleet. Under 3 to go, pressure coming, he gets it away.
Another good punt.
Yep, Portland ready for it on special teams, and man, what a punt, as it is down at the 2-yard line with 2:42 to go here in the second quarter.
I didn't know we were getting a special teams fest tonight, Eric, but that is some mighty fine special teams work right there. Now Baltimore's going to play in the shadow of their own goalpost for a little bit.
We saw a safety last week. We will see if we get a safety this week between these two teams. Portland stacking the box. Wigmore going to throw quickly towards the top of the formation. Caught. Broken tackles all over the place as Lloyd Graham Jr. will make the catch and the run out to the 10-yard line for a gain of 8.
Man, I love the play call. Just a quick 3-step drop by Wigmore, dealing to the right side. Got the ball out of his hands quickly. Did not give that great Portland defensive line a chance to get in on the pass rush. Well-executed play on 1st down.
Portland anticipating a run once again. They'll get it, and they were ready for it. As T-Roy Gaines, I believe, got the carry. He did, and he will get a loss of a yard back to the Baltimore 9-yard line as Bernard Patterson gets in there for the stop. As we hit the 2-minute warning here in the first half of play. Baltimore with a 6-point advantage. You're watching the Simulation Football League presented by EPM Music live on FTF Twitch. Third and 3 with 2 minutes to go. Baltimore under center. Wigmore, the quarterback, Hazard, the offset single back. Wigmore, good pocket, throws it into coverage and incomplete. So Portland forces the stop with under 2 to go, and they'll end up getting a fortuitous field position here following the stop.
Yeah, very exciting, but that's great defense by Mel Davis. Good pass coverage on Ivory Irvin, a wide receiver of all people. You'd expect a wide receiver to win that matchup. And Wigmore stood in the pocket with bodies flying all around him. It gave Irvin a pretty good ball, but the defense was just too good. Irvin couldn't do anything with it.
Yates near the back of his own end zone will have to get the punt off quickly, and he does. It's going to be a fairly short punt, fielded right around the 35-yard line and carried up to the Baltimore 32. Portland will have an extremely short field to work with here with 1:50 left to go here in the half.
And now if I'm Portland, Eric, I wonder if I'm even throwing the ball at all here. Maybe give David John, who was perfect in season 16, 28 of 28. Just give him a chance to boot this and go into the locker room just down 3. We'll see what Portland and O.J. Bruin decide to do.
From the gun, Bruin steps up in the pocket. He's going to check it down to his fullback, I believe, and that was John Trusman with the catch. It's going to be a loss of a couple back to the 34.
Yeah, and that's something you'll see a rookie do. He'd have been better off just throwing that over Trusman's head to the sideline. Take the incomplete, take the no gain. The clock does run here a little bit, but you're losing yardage, and you are in a precious spot right now. Another play like that, you're going to be out of field goal range.
Bruin again will throws far sideline, caught, first down yardage inside the 20, into the SFL red zone we go to the 19-yard line, courtesy of Nelson Lozano Jr. He caught a deep touchdown pass earlier in the half.
And a great catch and run there to make his quarterback's life a little bit easier. Bruin hustling them to the line. He's ready to go.
Handoff Ezekiel Love. Baltimore ready for it as they go no huddle back up to the line at the 19, under a minute to go.
Take your time, guys. You have some.
3 timeouts. Ezekiel Love with another carry, this time with blockers in front of him. He slips the defender, and he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Portland. They have the opportunity to take the lead before the half.
And that's the kind of play you can expect from Ezekiel Love when you get him the blocks to spring him loose. Just over there on the right side, everybody's picked up the blocks on the left, got him a seal. You can see the offensive linemen doing their job there. Now it's just one-on-one with Giovanni Bolt. Love's going to win that matchup, and he's in for the touchdown.
19-yard rushing touchdown by Ezekiel Love caps off that 4-play, 32-yard drive by the Fleet. And David John will try and give them the lead here at home in the Shipyard. Good snap, good hold, and is right through the middle. 14-13 now the score, as Portland looking to get a dub in the first ever meeting between them and the Baltimore Vultures here at home.
Just as everybody expected, Eric. Portland with a
Absolutely.
close lead here at the half. This is why
Who
we
would
love
have thought
football.
anything different, right?
This is why we love football. You just don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea.
10.5-point dog at home, and they've got a 1-point advantage with 43 seconds to go in the half. Gotta love it.
I'm loving it right now.
Giovanni Bolt slips a couple defenders, and he's going to get a decent return out to the Baltimore 30. 36 seconds to go. Baltimore with 2 timeouts. I don't anticipate them to really whole lot offensively out before the half, but this is a pass-happy attack for the Vultures.
It is a pass-happy attack. And it looks like we're going to see some fireworks here at the end of the first half. Wigmore in the backfield by himself.
Trips towards the top of the formation. Wigmore takes the snap, has time, going to throw it over the middle. That's caught. Lloyd Grant Jr. getting close to first down yardage. No huddle upcoming. Under 30 seconds to go for Baltimore.
They do have their timeouts.
Wigmore, same formation, same area of the field, this time into Portland territory. They do still have 2 timeouts as we get close to 10 seconds here. 6 on the clock. Deep pass. Wigmore wide open. That's going to be a touchdown for Mac Chima. And Baltimore retakes the lead with 2 seconds to go before the half.
Eric, I'm sitting here thinking, what are they doing? They're just letting this clock run down. Wigmore had other plans, just went ahead and took a shot down the field, and you see pressure coming, and he delivers a perfect ball to Mac Chima. That's number 24, Chris Stash, trying to play the ball, and it goes over his hand. Chima has nobody but nothing but green grass in front of him to get to the end zone. Baltimore back on top.
They started this drive with just about 30 seconds on the clock. They went 3 plays, 69 yards, and that was a 48-yard score from Wigmore to Chima to retake the lead. Tarkington to make it a 6-point ball game, and he does. 20-14 here in the Pacific Northwest with 2 seconds to go here in the half. And, man, it's been back and forth. I'm not sure what we expected out of this ball game, but I don't think this was it.
A seesaw battle. We knew Portland was going to have to play tough defense, and they had a little bit of a lapse there on that drive, got caught in a certain look. And Wigmore, give him credit, just made a couple of huge throws, including that one to Chima over the hand of Chris Stash for the touchdown.
Fielded by Portland right around their own goal line, and that will be the final play of the first half as he is tackled at the 22-yard line. Portland down by 6 at home going into the half, and they will have to make a few adjustments here, but I'd say an overall very good performance against Baltimore here at home. 20-14 your score in favor of the Vultures as we get a look at the first half stats and highlights.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen out of the Portland defense so far. Just a couple of breakdowns there. That Mac Chima touchdown, a clear example of that. But they're doing what they need to be doing. They're getting pressure on Jack Wigmore. You're playing well against the run. Jimmy Hazard or Troy Gaines, this so-called Thunder and Lightning project, if we want to call it that, I want to call it that. I'm not sure exactly what that is. But they're struggling as well. Hazard, 7.4 yards a catch. Troy Gaines, not faring quite so well. As we'll see the touchdown from Ivory Irvin there. I think there's a lot to like about both these teams. But really, it was about Jack Wigmore unleashing the dragon there at the end of the first half. Are we going to see Baltimore continue to take big shots down the field, similar to what they did in Week 1 against Los Angeles? If they do, that might be bad news for Portland. If they're not able to get pressure, with Robert Brower, Gary Burney, and Dervin Nuevo, who already has a sack, that's going to be the big piece of this, Eric. How much pressure can you get on Jack Wigmore? I think Portland's up to the task, but it's all to be determined at this point.
Well, and hey, Wigmore almost threw for 300 yards in one half, so I'd say that the air raid offense is here to stay for Baltimore. Hazard getting into the mix there with a few carries for about 37 yards. He's been productive on the ground, but you can definitely tell the bread and butter is through the air for this Vultures offense. And I'd say that Portland has done a fairly decent job of keeping them at bay. They've forced a couple stops. They've had a couple big plays of their own. And coming in here as a 10.5-point dog and being within 6 at the half, I'd say that's a victory.
Well, it's certainly something to feel good about, especially at home. You want to get your rookie quarterback going. You want to get the fans in the stadium here excited in the Shipyard. And looking at this run by Ezekiel Love, an inspired run there, getting his team there, he's going to need to have a much bigger second half. 9 carries for 24 yards in the first half. I'm sure he'll be looking to improve upon that. And really, that's what it's going to take for Portland. They're going to have to play out of their minds right now, and they're going to have to hold Baltimore back if they want to get back into this one.
Well, Portland will get the second half kickoff here. So that is fortuitous for them as they have the opportunity to retake the lead in the second half of play. Tarkington is ready to go here in the second half, and we are too, here from Portland, Oregon. Morris with the return. He's going to bounce it out far sideline, and he'll make it out to the 22-yard line. Eric Vincent alongside Josh Zirkle, Tyler Falk, and Justin Raside in the stats truck. And man, it's been a fun game. I mean, I'm not sure what we expected from these two teams coming in. Baltimore with a fairly easy win, Portland with a fairly handled loss. Wasn't sure what we'd get, but we got a good seesaw battle in the first half. as Portland sets up shop at the 22-yard line. Bruin under center. He's going to hand it off to Ezekiel Love. He's going to follow some blockers up the middle of the field and get gang tackled at the 30-yard line. Good chunk of 8 yards. What do you think about that first half, Josh?
I think just Portland showed up. I mean, I think that's what it takes. You need big games out of your big performers. For Portland, that's the secondary and their front four. And I think so far they've managed to do that, especially on the front side. They've gotten some pressure in the passing game. We've got 2 sacks on the game so far. And I think all you need at this point is a turnover, and you get Ezekiel Love going, and you got a chance to steal this thing.
They're going to come out I formation. Baltimore stacking the box. Hand off to Love. He's trying to bounce to the outside, follow some blockers, and I think he's lucky if he made it out to the line of scrimmage as Al Walker was chasing his behind the entire time.
And it was just a logjam of bodies there at the line of scrimmage. And Baltimore doing a nice job of making this offensive line work to get Ezekiel Love free. Schematically, they're not really doing a lot. We've seen a lot of this here. He's been in the backfield by himself, maybe a tight end out there, but he's had to do a lot of the work himself.
Love again going top of the screen there, and he doesn't get the first down yardage needed as big number 42, Frank Smith, the inside linebacker, clogs the hole just in time, and Portland is going to have to punt.
Credit to Loshaw for making that play, coming down from the safety position, but that's really unfortunate. You're 2nd and 2. You're deep in your own field. You're down by a touchdown. You need to make something happen there at that point. You need to convert that. You need to move the chains to come out in the half and not get a first down when you're at 2nd and 2. It's really unfortunate.
Bolt with the return, and he'll get steamrolled at the 35-yard line of Baltimore, and that is where the Vultures will take over for their first possession of the second half. Yeah, good call by you as Loshaw went and clogged the hole there on that 3rd down play and opened up the field for Frank Smith to make the open field tackle, and that forced the punt as Wigmore comes out for his first opportunity here in the 3rd quarter. Almost 250 yards passing in the first half, looking to add some more here. Over the middle of the field, that's caught, first down yardage. Out to the 49-yard line of Baltimore. Thread the needle once again, and Mac Chima, who had the big touchdown grab at the end of the first half, gets a catch here.
And Mac Chima right now with the most clandestine 100-yard receiving game that I've ever seen. You know, he made a couple catches here and there, but 100 yards already with 9 to play in the 3rd quarter. That's really remarkable, even when you consider the huge cushion that Portland's defensive backs. Look at the cornerbacks backing up already. They're giving these receivers a huge cushion. No wonder Wigmore's making so many of these throws.
A little bit of a play action there. He is going to throw it to the top of the screen. Ivory Irvin with a huge space to run, and he will make it out to about the 20-yard line. Mark him down at the 21, and you called it, Josh. That huge cushion there for Irvin sparked the big play.
Yeah, Wigmore with a nice drop here, and he's looking to the left side of the field right away, and there's nobody there. I mean, Gary Clem, that's a linebacker trying to chase down one of the best receivers on this Baltimore offense. This guy caught 108 balls last season. You can't cover him with Gary Clem. You need to get a defensive back over there to shut him down.
Bunch of receivers towards the top of the formation. Bottom of the formation is where they're going to go, and Lloyd Graham Jr. couldn't get the handle on that one. That was a dangerous pass there, as it ends up being incomplete, 2nd down.
Yeah, a little bit of a high throw there from Wigmore. Rare off-target offering from him. And Portland, to their credit, had 2 defenders on the scene.
2nd down, 8:15 to go here in the 3rd. 4 wideouts for Wigmore to work with here. Single back is Hazard. Wigmore to throw once again. He's got his man, Graham Jr., as he slides out of bounds at the Portland 17-yard line. The SFL invades Houston next week, August 6th to the 8th, to induct the 2021 Hall of Fame class, showcase live and in-person Week 3 action, and to connect with the SFL community all around the world. Look out for live camera feeds from the events on our Twitch channel all weekend long at twitch.tv/SimulationFL. 3rd and 5, just under 8 to go. Wigmore takes the snap, gonna fire it under pressure, and he threads the needle again. Ivory Irvin with his 2nd touchdown grab of the ball game.
And that is just throwing into an amazingly tight window. Jack Wigmore finding his favorite target, Ivory. We're going to see a replay here. Nice little stutter step on the post route. And you see the defensive back collide. I think that's Sean Allen, the strong safety, coming in hard. And Irvin just manages to bring that thing in. That is an impressive throw and probably a more impressive catch by the 4th-year wide receiver, Ivory Irvin.
And this was a lot like the Atlanta-London game last week, right? Where it was just tight coverage. The quarterbacks were just playing out of their minds.
Yep.
It was one of those things that you just could not believe it, as Tarkenton nails the extra point, making it a 13-point ball game here. And I feel like Portland is playing pretty good defense on these intense weapons that Baltimore has on offense. Wigmore's just playing a better game.
And the interesting thing about that game, Eric, was that Johnny Pickler threw 52 times, did not get sacked once, whereas Bryant Dynasty threw for 499 yards, didn't quite make it to the 500 club, but he had hands in his face all game. Spent a lot of time on his back, but still managed to come up with huge throws. Both of them did, but one of them had to do it with a little more effort.
And Leo Morris with a good effort there. He'll make it out to the 38-yard line, just shy of the 40, and that will give Portland great starting field position here for their 2nd possession of the 2nd half. Down by 13, got to get a touchdown on the board here, I think, in order to keep pace. Baltimore is just on fire right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if Portland wants to be in a situation where they're counting on O.J. Bruin to throw the ball down the field, but that's where they find themselves. They got a chance. They don't want to let this game slip away. Their defense still playing fairly well.
Bruin in trouble. He's going to go down. I don't think he saw the blitzer coming at all, as the defensive tackle comes in free, as that's Nate Brown. He just beats his block right off the gate.
Yeah, nice little swim move there. Gets right to Bruin. Bruin has no idea what's going on. Can't quite feel the rush. Taking it looked like Brown stumbled a little bit on his way to the quarterback for Bruin's benefit. If Brown had a full head of steam, I'd hate to think what would have happened to O.J. Bruin on that play.
Shoot, if you were 6'2", 303, wouldn't you stumble a little bit if you're going full speed at a guy?
No, I would be in bed all the time. That's what I would be if I was 303.
Yes.
You'd be tearing down a wall to visit me, Eric.
Bruin with the throw near sideline this time, as that's a catch, this time by Nelson Lozano Jr., and he'll make it out to the 38-yard line. Back to the line of scrimmage originally, 3rd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, and they need to utilize all the weapons they have. Lozano Jr., Valentin, Vandelay. Not seeing a lot of Truzman in this game, and we don't see Ezekiel Love right now in this play either. He's on the sideline.
To be expected here, passing formation. Bruin going to fire it towards the far sideline, caught into Baltimore territory. The Portland Fleet go, and what a play made by Benjamin Warner, his first catch of the ball game, and a big one there for over 20 yards.
Yeah, Baltimore only rushed 3. They have 8 in coverage. That means they've got 8 guys. They got to find a way to get somebody on Benjamin Warner, and that's number 35, Ben Stackenpaper, who had 2 picks last week. He was looking for a chance to play the ball, but Warner got to it first, comes up with a big gain.
Approaching 6.5 to go here in the 3rd. Full house here for the Fleet. Ezekiel Love will get the carry, and he'll get a gain of 3 out to the Baltimore 38-yard line. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League, and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. Sector 6 features replica team jerseys and completely customized jackets, flags, t-shirts, and more. Get the gear the fans wear with Sector 6, 97 Sports Promotions, and the SFL. Love bounces it to the outside. Good move there as he's able to get the first down yardage out to the Baltimore 27-yard line with under 6 to go here in the 3rd.
Very nice spin by Love. Had a head of steam. Managed to make a defender miss after got a big block there on the perimeter. Let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, there it is. Truzman, boom, right there. Tremendous block. Springing Love. Give him a chance to earn a couple more yards. Unfortunately, Giovanni Bolt right there on the scene. And managed to corral Love before he got too far down the field. But a nice run by Love and a great block by Truzman.
Bruin and company with a good drive here. Love the offset back, and he'll get tackled by the first defender he sees. Big number 95, Tucker Lewis, will drag him down after a gain of a half a yard.
Tucker Lewis had 3 tackles for loss last week, Eric, and gets himself hog tie on Love right there. And Portland marching down the field here. They're going to need a couple more of those on Love to keep him out of the end zone.
7th play of the drive. Bruin takes the snap from the gun. He'll check it down to Love, and he goes nowhere as the corners were ready for him on that play. Marvin Himes, along with others, getting in on the stop, make it no gain, 3rd and 10.
Yeah, well defended. You got to think about your third down call here. I would love to see them run it toward Love and consider kicking a field goal here. Not having a lot of success moving the ball through the air at this point.
Field goal wouldn't be the worst thing. Play action for Bruin. Throws it down bottom of the screen. Clutch catch there by Warner as he makes his 2nd catch of the ball game. 2nd on this drive and 2nd to extend the drive for a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, both of these catches by Warner absolutely huge. And now it's Portland doing a nice job of stretching the defense from sideline to sideline. The play action playing a huge part of that. The safeties see the running back possibly getting the ball. They don't commit to their drops as quickly as they would like. And that gives those receivers that are getting down the field a chance to get open. And that's what we saw there with Warner.
Inside the SFL red zone from the 13-yard line, Ezekiel Love, near sideline spin move, and he'll make it inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Tackle made by Frank Smith.
And we're just seeing a great drive here by Portland. They're doing a nice job not only of moving the ball, but keeping their defense off the field. Just tremendous effort here. The 10th play of the drive, I believe, coming up.
Bruin under center with under 4 to go here in the 3rd. Love will get the carry, bounces it outside, finds a hole, and gets close to the end zone. He'll get tackled just shy at the 1-yard line. An impressive run by Ezekiel Love.
And Ezekiel Love just finding a way to get around in this game. Wow, you see Nate Brown diving for him. Made another stumble by the 300-pounder there. But Love managed to get to the seam. Very nearly got it to the end zone. It was probably a player or a tackle away. And I would keep feeding him at this point, Eric. Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely. Short yardage situation. Got to feed Love, and he will get the carry. Ooh. Baltimore ready for it on that play. As, again, that was Frank Smith coming in and making another stop. He has been very active on that defense here tonight.
He sure has. 6 tackles, and that is his 2nd tackle for loss. Doing a great job of getting penetration in the backfield. Inside the linebacker, you see him hunched down, Eric. He wants to shoot that gap and do it again.
I formation, heavy set for Portland. Baltimore anticipating the run. Love is going to get it, trying to get to the end zone, and Baltimore's defense stands strong again. Forces a 3rd and goal. Loshaw with the tackle this time.
And Loshaw, again, playing some great run defense, making his presence felt, and part of the reason he's still on the field in that goal line package. Tremendous effort there. Portland running out of opportunities.
Again, Baltimore wanting the smoke. They want that run. They'll get it. Love with the carry, and again, Baltimore stops it. A goal line stand for the Vulture defense as Keenan Samuels makes the stop for a loss again, and that will force a field goal try for Portland.
Tremendous penetration by 3 different players on 3 different plays on that goal line stand. Very impressive. And the Keenan Samuels who came over last season from Jacksonville, getting in there down as well. And now Portland's got to settle for a field goal. After all that on that drive, they're only getting 3 points.
John will nail the chippy field goal from 20 yards to make it a 10-point lead for Baltimore. And man, oh man, that was a 14-play, 59-yard drive, capped off by a short field goal make by David John. And, I mean, points on the board are always a good thing, but man, oh man, Portland wanted a touchdown there.
Well, now Portland's down 10. They're going to kick off. And think about this, Eric. This will only be the 2nd time this half that the Portland defense has been on the field. That Baltimore drive that resulted in the touchdown only went 5 plays. So this Portland defense is going to be really well rested. They're going to have to come up with a big play here.
They're going to come out fresh, and Baltimore will set up shop at the 25-yard line with 1:41 to go here in the third quarter, up by 10. Portland wanting to get that football back, hopefully, before the third quarter is done to give themselves plenty of time to mount a comeback at home.
Wigmore, 22 of 27 on the day, hovering near the 300-yard mark. He's looked great so far.
He's been lethal as T-Roy Gaines gets the carry, and a good hit by number 34, the strong safety, Shad Allen, getting in there and making the stop. And that'll be a gain of just a couple on the play.
Shad Allen, one of the leaders of this offense. 9 interceptions last season, including 2 pick sixes. I thought we'd be calling his name a little bit more this evening, and we may still.
Wigmore under center, handoff to Hazard. Hazard with the spin move, and he'll barely get past the line of scrimmage out to the 27-yard line. It'll still be 3rd and long coming up for Baltimore. And this is where they like to throw the football for sure. They like to throw the football in general, but this is where Portland needs to be aware.
Absolutely, and this is a time for the defensive line to shine. Get some pressure on Jack Wigmore.
Wigmore, pressure in his face. He completes it to Chima, and Chima will get the first down out to the 39-yard line. And, man, that was a dagger to the heart right there for the Fleet defense.
Yeah, really a missed opportunity. The left defensive end, I'm not sure who it was, but had a chance. I think it's Nuevo, had a chance, was basically unencumbered to the quarterback. But Wigmore got the pass loose and found Chima. That quick release, getting Wigmore all kinds of yards today.
Wigmore, quick throw, Hazard, good spin move there to avoid the first defender as he makes it out to the 42-yard line for a short gain of 3.
And now Baltimore putting together a little bit of a drive here, Eric. Little nickel and diamond. The penny saved is a penny earned. You could say the same thing about yards on the SFL football field.
I like all the money references you're making here. Baltimore just barely gets it off here. Throws it over the middle. Big hit over the middle and holds on. Daly Holder with another catch. And that will extend the drive out to the Portland 46-yard line as we hit the end of the third quarter. What a play to end it on.
Yeah, and here's the replay. Holder making a massive catch as Mel Davis hits him right in the gut. It's part of the reason Wigmore's completion percentage has been so good.
End of 3. Put your 4s up in the chat. Put your 86s up in the chat. We got one more frame to go. 10-point advantage for Baltimore. Simulation Football League action presented by APM Music, live on FTF Twitch. Quick flip of the field here as Baltimore just sneaks inside of Portland territory. Up by 10, Wigmore to throw again. He's going to throw it over the middle. Caught as he's going backwards. It's a good gain of about 3 or 4 yards by Lord Graham Jr. This is the SFL's YouTube channel at youtube.com/simulationfl for an archive of every game, every draft, every moment you might have missed since the Simulation Football League got its start in 2013. SFL YouTube features top 10 plays of the week, archived people behind the players segments, and all the major milestones in league history. As Jimmy Hazard tries to make his way through the Blue Sea, I guess we should call it, and he makes it out to the 43-yard line as the Portland Fleet defense clamps shut.
Is that blue or is that purple?
Allegedly, it's light blue, dark blue, and orange. This is what I'm told. I'm colorblind. I can't tell you heads or tails. I just go with it.
I wouldn't be your friend if I didn't tell you right now that that's not blue. I don't know if it's purple, but that's not blue.
All right. I'll buy that for $1. Wigmore airing it out. Near sideline and incomplete. Irvin had a step on the defense, but couldn't quite get the tippy toes in bounds. And that's going to bring up a 4th down. I think that's just out of range there for Tarkington, although not far out of his range. Pablo Gates will have to come and punt.
Yeah, that would have been a 60-yard field goal. That'd be a tall order for any SFL kicker. Like punting here, trying to pin Portland deep. It's a winning play. Make them rip off another big drive to try and beat you.
And Portland wanted that smoke. They wanted that block there as a good punt again by Gates, and it is going to trickle down at the 1 yard line. What a punt by Pablo Gates to pin him back deep.
And that's the second mighty punt that's been pinned inside the 5. More zesty special teams play here in the Pacific Northwest. And Portland down 10. They were going to have to get some points out of this drive, Eric, one way or another. You don't want to be in a situation where you're down 2 scores. And that's the end of my thought.
Okay, fair enough. And off to Ezekiel Love. Just barely sneaks out of his own end zone. He's off to the races. Into range at the 30-yard line, down to the 31. What a run of 30 yards by Ezekiel Love in the shadow of his own end zone.
Yeah, it's getting late for this Baltimore defense, too. Look at Love finally coming alive. Hits the corner and gets a big block there from the wide receiver. I can't tell who that is, but Love's got a lane down the right side. And look who it is saving the day. Giovanni Bolt making a touchdown-saving tackle. Portland getting themselves back into this game.
Andre Krim in the chat saying Easy got some speed. He's got that speed, and speed kills. Bruin under center. Gonna toss it out to Love again. Unable to get away from the defense this time, as he'll get a short gain of 3 out to the 33.
And Lozano was set to escort him, to give him a block there. That pass not quite on target. Love had to make the adjustment, and that put him in front of Lozano and allowed Baltimore to make the tackle.
Bruin on 2nd and 7 as we approach 8.5 to go in the ball game. Fleet down by 10, handoff to Ezekiel Love, and again Love able to get a first down out to the 41-yard line. That will extend the drive once again. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. Ezekiel Love is bringing some sultry tones of his own out to the 47-yard line. Good chunk of 5 yards as he's finally coming to life here in the 4th.
Yeah, with this Baltimore defense worn down, I think it's given Love a chance to break some tackles. It's given the Portland line, a chance to sustain some blocks, something they weren't able to do in the first half. And I think Love is gaining some inertia here, running downhill on this drive.
Bruin gonna uncork one. He's got it behind the defense. And again, that is Nelson Lozano Jr. able to find a seam down the middle of the field. He eventually gets tackled from behind, but not before he creeps inside the 10 to the 6-yard line. 1st and goal, Portland.
And Lozano's been a matchup problem all night. You can see him getting away there. That's number 36, Troy Loshaw. You'd think a strong safety on a tight end would be a winning matchup there for Baltimore. Not so. Lozano had the advantage of Bruin, gave him a perfect ball. 1st and goal for Portland.
49-yard pass from Bruin to Lozano Jr. Sets up 1st and goal. Bruin, 7-step drop. Going to throw it over the middle of the end zone, and that's incomplete. Plenty of white jerseys in the area. Possibly an ill-advised throw for the rookie quarterback.
I'd love to get your opinion on how much you'd want to push this if you were Portland's offensive coordinator at this point. But I would love to see Portland get a touchdown here and make it a 3-point game. That is to say, I would love to see them try for the touchdown, get O.J. Bruin in a situation where he could throw a ball maybe in the corner of the end zone and try for the touchdown here. Don't settle for 3 points. Even if that means an interception, you got to come back here down this end of the field, do this again within the next 7 minutes.
Got to take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you, and this is an opportunity right here. Hand off to Love, bounces it out far sideline, tries to spin it back inside, and we'll get a couple of yards out to the 4-yard line as he surpasses the century mark with 102 yards rushing and a touchdown.
And the yards per carry has gone up a little bit as well. He was sub 3 for most of the first half. He's worked that up to 4.3 yards a carry. And as it stands, Portland 4 yards from the end zone on the Baltimore 4.
Brewing, got to throw it out to John Trusman, the fullback, and he will step out of bounds right around the 4-yard line. That wasn't quite the play that they were looking for there, as that forces a 4th down, and I think we'll see a field goal try by David John.
Yeah, it's a curious play call, but when you look at Truzman, there was nobody between him and the pylon. He had a chance to run that in if he got a good throw, and unfortunately, O.J. Bruin was not able to deliver that for him on third down.
So John will try and add another chippy field goal here. He's hit 2 from short range. This one from 21, his longest today, and he will nail it again. This time narrowing the gap to a 7-point ball game. Portland's got to get a stop here on defense with 6:03 to go to give their offense a chance to even things up before the end of the regulation.
And if you're Portland, I think that means tightening down on those wide receivers, clamping them down, not giving them a chance to roam free on these 10 and 15-yard routes that have been hurting Portland for most of the second half.
Holt from his own goal line trying to find a seam, and he'll make it out to the 24-yard line where Baltimore will take over once again. Portland has hung tough here at home against this very staunch Baltimore offense. And it's been back and forth again here in the second half, just like the first.
And if you're Baltimore here, I think you just take a shot. Jack Wigmore having a monster game, 300-plus yards already. You got Bunch at the bottom of your screen. Just take a shot. See what happens.
Wigmore will throw. He's going to uncork one. He's got Ivory Irvin. He's been very productive here today as he's got over 100 yards once again. His 5th catch of the ball game.
And that space between the numbers and the sideline has been Irvin's office. He's made most, if not all, of his catches within those regions on either side of the field. And he does it again there, gets into that seam in the defense. Wigmore delivers him a nice ball. That's a nice gain for Baltimore. First play of the drive.
5 catches, 114 yards, and a touchdown a week ago against L.A. 5 catches, unofficially 156 yards and 2 touchdowns here this week against Portland. Hazard gets the swing pass. Good blocking there for Hazard. Maintains his footing in bounds and will make it out to the Portland 31-yard line. Big play by the rookie running back.
Yeah, Graham Jr., as you said, Eric, delivering him a big block. I hope we see it here on the replay. And this is just a nice run by Jimmy Hazard in space. There's 83 right there. Boom. Getting the block and giving Hazard a chance after he breaks that tackle to have one more sprig of life toward the end zone. Just a tremendous run and a well-designed play by Baltimore.
Clock continuing to roll now, approaching 5.5 minutes and counting in regulation. Baltimore with a 7-point advantage, looking to pad their lead. Hand off to Hazard, following blockers up the middle of the field. He'll get a good chunk of 9 out to the Portland 22-yard line as we approach 5 minutes to go here in the game.
And Hazard's numbers not spectacular, but has really been looking vibrant here in the second half. We have him at 45 yards rushing and at 37 yards receiving. So Hazard is on the cusp of having a 100-yard all-purpose day.
Wigmore will throw. He's got Graham Jr. once again, and that's been his bread and butter. He's been running those out routes to perfection, and this time it will give them a fresh set of downs, move those chains.
And that is Graham's 9th catch of the game, Eric. He had 10 last week, led the team in week 1. Right now he's leading the team in week 2 in receptions. Very reliable target for Jack Wigmore.
2 tight ends towards the bottom of the formation. Handoff to T-Roy Gaines, hurdles a defender, and then gets suplexed into the turf right around the line of scrimmage. A great play by Gary Clem, the outside linebacker.
And Clem trying to make a play, knows his team needs to get the ball back here at some point. Baltimore in field goal range. If they're able to convert a field goal, that's trouble for Portland. It's Fleet defense playing for a turnover.
Single back is Hazard. 2 wideouts towards the top of the formation. Wigmore throws that way a little bit too far out of bounds as it ends up being 3rd and 9. Pass intended for Mac Chima.
And along those same lines, Eric, if you're Baltimore, you just need to run this. Take time off the clock, make it a 2-score game. Make Portland come back down the field twice to beat you. Jack Wigmore's been out of his mind, and clearly they're not listening to me. No running backs in the backfield.
Nah, screw it. Air raid all the time. 5 wideouts. Wigmore gonna uncork one. End zone and incomplete. Irvin again just a bit too far out of bounds. Couldn't get the tippy toes in. Brings up a 4th down, and Baltimore will attempt a field goal.
And that will stop the clock with 4:14 left to play in regulation here. That's a benefit to Portland. That could have run that thing down to 3:30 or 3:40 with the field goal. And Portland, a little more time to make up for that second score.
Tarkington from about 36. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up, and it is through from 35 yards officially as Tarkington adds 3 more to the board. And Portland will have to go down the field twice with about 4 minutes to go here in the ballgame.
Yeah, Baltimore at 30 points again after scoring 57 just a week ago. I think we're seeing one of the more potent offenses here in the SFL. And they have looked very good. Portland has given them a good pass rush. I think the secondary play is a little looser than I would like to see. But credit to Baltimore. They are going up and down the field. They're having little trouble executing their game plan.
Morris with another return. He'll make it out to the 26-yard line with 4:06 frozen on the clock. Portland, as I mentioned, 2-possession ball game. They'll have to go down the field twice in order to score or take the lead. And I said it in the season preview here that Baltimore had the most complete roster in the Simulation Football League, and they are proving me right here through 2 weeks, as they have just looked absolutely incredible on offense and done just enough on defense, and they're doing more on defense now as Bruin was in trouble. Gets sacked for a short loss.
And no help in the backfield. Ezekiel Love off the field.
Bruin in trouble again, throws a dangerous pass. This one gets batted to the turf and incomplete. That was courtesy of number 29, one of the extra corners on the play.
And that's something else you got to think about when you're making these late game decisions, that when you're behind 2 scores, your best player basically comes out of your game plan. You can't run the ball with Ezekiel Love. You can certainly throw it to him out of the backfield and try and find him in the intermediate stages of the defense, but his bread and butter is now gone.
Benjamin Paul with the deflection. Bruin on 3rd and long. Gonna uncork one, and again, he's got a deep man. That is number 81, Art Vandelay, with the big catch. Tackled at the 25-yard line. Clock continues to roll.
And that is the 3rd time a Portland receiver has just completely blown past the Baltimore defense.
Bruin again wants to go deep and again finds his man, this time in the end zone. Touchdown Portland in just over 30 seconds. Gene Valentine.
And that is just tremendous fortitude on the part of O.J. Bruin, making 2 big-time throws like that. First to Vandelay, and then this post route to Gene Valentine, and that is right on the money. 2 feet either direction. That ball's getting picked off. But Valentine right there, the ball is on time. And Portland down to only a score at this point.
Gone looking to add the extra point. 2 plays, nothing. Next 2 plays, all 74 yards they needed, including that 25-yard passing touchdown from Bruin to Valentine, as that makes it a 3-point ball game. Again, hats off to Tyler Falk and Justin Reside in the stat truck for giving us all those saucy statistics here tonight, making us sound smarter than we actually are.
Which is very, very difficult because we are so smart.
Only at times. Only at times. You're probably smarter than me, I would say.
No.
Oh, you're too
I would
sweet.
never say it. I would never say that.
Bolt, O-line, spin move, and he'll make it out to the Baltimore 24, 3:22 on the clock. Portland needs to get a quick stop here in order to get the football back to their offense to potentially take the lead or tie the ball game.
I'm curious if they're going to keep airing it out. Wigmore making a lot of progress airing the ball down the field. A lot of coaches would shy away from the risk at that point, at this point in the game. And I see we've got Gaines and Hazard both out in the backfield.
And off. And that's T-Roy Gaines with the carry. Good gain of 5 out to the 29-yard line. 3:11 and counting to go here in the fourth.
And the proposition is, do you want to work the clock or do you want to work the field? And Baltimore going on record with that play saying they're going to work the clock. T-Roy Gaines with a nice run there. Gives them a chance to get a first down, but ultimately they're going to be happy if they can take some time off of this clock.
7 in the box for the Fleet. Wigmore under center, taking his time, making sure to bleed the play clock down. Wigmore going to throw it over the middle, finds a cushion in the zone, and that is complete for a first down to Ivory Irvin. Out to the 41-yard line as we hit 2:35 on the clock now.
I think Ivory Irvin has done a little bit of everything in this game. We're talking about how he likes to work the sideline. There he is catching a ball between the hash marks and then get blasted by Mel Davis. He has created some matchup problems for this Portland defense. And I'm not exactly sure why or how that's happening, but credit to Irvin for taking full advantage.
Wigmore under center. Carry goes to T-Roy, who fumbles the football. It's on the turf, and I believe Portland has recovered it. That's the turnover that they needed, and the Fleets are set up with great field position at the Baltimore 41.
Unbelievable, a break. They decide to run the ball. They decide to play the clock, and then whoop, gets absolutely stripped right there. I think that was Bernard Patterson, number 64. We'll get a better look at it here. And then you see the barrage of dark jerseys falling on that ball. And Portland gets another big break, and they are knocking on the door already in plus territory to start this drive, Eric.
Man, oh man, what a turn of events here for the Vultures as they are forced to play defense. T-Roy with one fumble all season long last season, and he gets one here in week 2 as Ezekiel Love gets a carry. He'll bring it out to the 40-yard line, gave maybe a half a yard, and that will be the 2-minute warning. 3-point ball game at home for the Fleet, looking to get a dub in their first matchup against Baltimore. Simulation Football League action rolls on. Presented by APM Music, live on FTF Twitch. Offset I formation for the Fleet. Bruin, short drop, gonna fire it over the middle. First down, yardage out to the 25-yard line. Clock continues to tick away. Coverage of the Simulation Football League on For the Fans returns after the convention in week 4, Sunday, August 15th. It's an epic slate featuring Brian Craven, Doug Day, and Cameron Collier of Louisiana, welcoming their old team Lone Star down to the Bayou. Plus, the high-flying DC Dragons in a rematch of last season's overtime thriller with the Mexico City Aztecs. Stay tuned to the SFL social channels and league website for updated kickoff times. Ezekiel Love gets a carry on first down. He'll barrel ahead to the 21-yard line, under 90 to go here in the final regulation quarter.
And now Ezekiel Love back in this game. There's enough time where you could give him the ball, depending on what Portland's trying to do. If they're going to try and kick the field goal and play for the tie, try and get in overtime, which is not a bad thing to do when you're at home, then Ezekiel Love is going to be very much a factor here in this last minute 7.
Zeke with the carry again, follows blockers, top of the screen. He's going to get inside the 10 to the 8-yard line as we approach 60 seconds to go here in the fourth.
The clock's still running, and there's not a lot of urgency for Portland to get back to the line of scrimmage. I'd love to see them take a shot or two at the end zone. But ultimately, you got a chance to tie this game up with David John. You don't want to be too cavalier with that either.
Gosh, I would be casual, but not too casual here as Zeke will get another carry, and he'll get stood up at the line. Baltimore makes the stop right at the line of scrimmage. They go no huddle here.
Oh, Baltimore's got a player offside. You better get back there, friend.
Got to snap the ball there. Zeke gets the carry again. This time down to the 5, and Portland will finally burn a timeout with 23 seconds to go. They have 2 remaining.
You know, 3rd and goal, I would have liked to see them run the clock down a little bit, maybe to 15 seconds, and then run that 4th down play. As it stands, you have 2 timeouts. The 3rd down here, the playbook is wide open. You could run it. You could throw it. Just make sure you have the ball at the end of this play.
4 wide. Split across the formation. Bruin play action. Going to throw it over the middle. Caught in the middle of the field is not where you wanted to throw that football, but Portland will burn a second timeout with 4th and goal to come, and they have an opportunity to tie the football game with 18 seconds to go.
And I wonder what O.J. Bruin was thinking, knowing that he basically had a tie game in his pocket. And then he throw it toward the end zone. Well, any throw at all, really, would have been an opportunity for Baltimore to take that ball right back. But as it stands, David John set to tie this up.
John from 21 nails it to tie the football game up at 30 with 15 seconds to go. And to go back to your previous point, Josh, I think he might have had a conversation on the sidelines with head coach Mel Davis, and Mel was telling him, look, if it's not there, check it down, call a timeout, we'll tie the football game up. No need to force anything. We have bled the clock as much as we possibly can to keep Baltimore from scoring here to win the football game in regulation. Let's go to overtime and kick their butts then.
And I think when Portland looks at this game, they're going to lament the number of times they relied on David John. His 3 for 3, his longest field goal of the game, Eric, 21 yards. 3 times Portland has gotten to the doorstep, and 3 times they were not able to get in.
That's a great point there. 8 plays, 37 yards, 21-yard field goal make by David John. He is 3 for 3 tonight. So is Shark Tarkington. 11 seconds to go from the 25-yard line. Wigmore in the gun, empty set, shuffles in the pocket, throws it over the middle, caught by Daley Holder, and Baltimore will burn their first timeout with 6 seconds to go.
That was a very fanciful throw there from Jack Wigmore. You would think with the game on the line, defenders falling at your feet, that you might put a little more juice into that goose, but no, just a little sauntering feather pass over to Daley Holder, who caught it for a modest gain. You had a timeout, you burn a timeout. No big whoop.
3 wideouts towards the near sideline. Hazard the lone back. Wigmore under center. Wigmore, again, quick throw, looking for the pick. There was the Portland defense, and they whiffed on it. And Lloyd Graham Jr. gets ushered out of bounds with 1 second to go at the Baltimore 46. I think this is within Hail Mary range.
Graham Jr.'s 10th catch of the game. He has been a machine. That gives him 20 catches on the season already. Not even finished with his second game yet. And Wigmore is going to unleash the dragon here for the last play in regulation.
Hail Mary range for sure. 1 second to go in regulation. Win or overtime. Wigmore unleashes the dragon into the end zone. Incomplete. And we will go to overtime, tied at 30 apiece. If you hit the over, well, we hit the over. You're in good news here. You took the dog, good news. Took the favorite, not so much.
And now here we are again, Eric. It's deja vu all over again. Another coin toss, another game. We don't have fancy overtime rules here. You score first, you win. That's how it works. And it looks like the Fleet are going to get the ball first. This is huge.
Fleet wins the coin toss, and they will get the football to start things off. If you're new to the SFL, not very alike with a lot of the different football leagues out there. It's sudden death. You scored, you win. Doesn't matter who scores at what point in time. Whoever scores first, they win the ball game.
And that's the way it should be. I mean, we've already played however long already.
44 minutes of game clock and a little more than an hour and a half of real time here. But, hey, we're ready for more action here as Leo Morris gets another return out to the 25-yard line for Portland. It's been about where he's left things off for the Fleet offense here today. As we get a look at other action on the SFL Twitch page, LA adding another field goal, finally adding some more points to the board, but commanding 3-score lead over on the SFL Twitch page. Ezekiel Love with the carry, and he will make it out to the 27-yard line, gain of 2.
And we have that in the stats truck as his 30th carry of the game. He has been an absolute workhorse. He's gotten his team back into this game. And if they prevail here, he's going to be a big part of how they were able to do that on this drive.
2nd and 8 now for Bruin and company. He's under center. Lone setback is Love, who will get the carry, and he gets buried at the line of scrimmage. Frank Smith has been living there all game long, and he makes another tackle for loss. This one for a loss of a yard.
Yeah, Frank Smith's done a great job against the run today. And really just a great job of owning that interior gap, the A gap, right in front of him.
Bruin on 3rd and 9 throws a duck, but it's complete for first down yardage out to the 37-yard line. Gene Valentin has been clutch. All the wide receivers, honestly, and the tight end, Nelson Lozano Jr., have been clutch all game long for Bruin, helping out the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, not a great ball, but Valentin handles it brilliantly, catches it at waist high, manages to secure it, and gets Portland a fresh set of downs.
Offset eye, Baltimore gearing up for the run. They'll get it. Zeke bouncing it to the outside, goes nowhere. Troy Loshaw in there on the tag. No, I apologize. Ben Stackenpaper in there on the stop, as the corners, they'd like to play the run defense here in Baltimore.
Yeah, they really do, and it's a bit of a contrast from what we saw for Baltimore in the fourth quarter. We saw a defense that was looking gassed, that had been on the field a great deal in the second half. These Vultures look energized at this point, playing the run with a lot of vigor.
Love looked like he had a hole there, and Keenan Samuels was just able to get off his block and make the clutch stop. That forces a 3rd and long once again for Portland.
And a 3rd and long, it's going back onto the arm of O.J. Bruin, who's going to have to make a big throw here to keep his team on offense.
4 wide, split across the formation. Bruin is going to throw it into coverage and incomplete. That was an ill-advised throw for sure, as Maryland is able to bat the football down, and Portland will have to kick the football away to Baltimore.
Yeah, not a fan of that throw into traffic behind the sticks. There's a lot to dislike on paper about that decision. But you got to remember, this is a rookie quarterback playing in just his 2nd major league game against the season 15 champs. The runner's up.
Good punt by Portland, fielded at about the 25-yard line, and Bolt will get a 1.5 yards more than that. They'll mark him down at the 27-yard line. Baltimore will get their first crack in overtime here. And another update here for overtime rules. We'll play until we get a winner. There are no ties in the Simulation Football League. So, hey, if it ends up being a seesaw battle, we'll be here till 2 in the morning. We don't care.
That's all right. I have no plans tonight anyway.
That's what I like to hear. Wigmore tosses it down to Hazard, and he'll make it out to the 31-yard line, gain of 5 as Wigmore surpasses 400 yards. Bruin with his first career 300-yard ball game. No interceptions here today either, so hats off to Bruin for throwing a very efficient ball game.
Yeah, Bruin has looked really solid. Not a lot of mistakes. Maybe some questionable decisions, but no glaring mistakes.
Hira Gaines with the carry will make it out to the 34-yard line. Speaking of mistakes, his fumble set up the tying score for Portland to send it into overtime. And you got to imagine that that's weighing on his mind here, although the great ones have a very short memory, and I know T-Roy is one of the great ones. Wigmore under center on 3rd and 3, wide open. Lloyd Graham Jr. makes the catch and will extend the drive out to the Baltimore 43-yard line. Tackle made by Mel Davis.
And Davis, a linebacker, he was dropped back 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Portland's still giving a huge cushion to these Baltimore receivers, and they're not doing anything other than just slipping underneath the coverage and catching well-thrown balls from Wigmore.
That classic bend, don't break defense. Wigmore going to throw one short again, this time to Hazard, and Hazard will get maybe a 0.5 yard as the Portland Fleet defense was ready for that one.
Yeah, great open field tackle, too. Hazard does have that ability to be elusive, to get a little slippery, if you will. Not on that play.
2nd and 9 now. Portland still putting 7 in the box. Pressure coming. Wigmore will throw top of the screen. Daly Holder with some speed, and he'll make it out across the chains to the Portland 43-yard line. A very methodical drive by the Vultures here in overtime.
And they're not doing anything special. They're just taking what Portland's giving them. And at this point, they're getting them quite a bit. Look at the drop back, and that's a great route by Daly Holder. Just running that right toward the sideline. And then having the presence of mind to cut up field. And then Chris Stack's got to work to bring him down. Just very methodical is the perfect word for it, Eric.
Stack recovered nicely on that play there as Holder definitely left him in the dust. A great route run by Daly Holder. Offset eye for Baltimore. Hand off to Hazard. Portland buries them in the backfield. Gang tackled by numerous defenders. First one there was Derwin Nuevo off the end.
Nuevo actually forcing Hazard back toward midfield. And that could be a factor. Should Baltimore be punting from this location or someplace similar?
Wigmore to throw again. Shuffles in the pocket. Going to check it down to Hazard. And again, Hazard is met right at the line of scrimmage. Gary Clem, the outside linebacker, with the tackle on this play. And that brings up 3rd and long.
Gary Clem has 10 tackles on the day. Gary Burney, the defensive tackle, has a TFL. There are 2 Garys on this defense, and both Garys making an impact tonight.
11 total tackles for Clem. Wigmore gonna go down. That's a sack. And it's all the way back in Baltimore territory, and that will knock them out of field goal range for sure as Robert Brower makes the big play.
Brower coming up huge, beats his block. And those magnificent orange arms wrapping up Jack Wigmore. Wigmore's just got nowhere to go. That is a huge play, not only in terms of stopping Baltimore on offense here, but a field position. That's going to be 10 yards taken off this punt for Baltimore.
Gates has been excellent handling the punting duties for Baltimore here tonight. Fair catch called for right around the 20-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 22. So decent field position here for the Fleet, at least not backed up against their own end zone if they didn't get that sack there. So that was a clutch play by the Portland defense to give their offense a little breathing room.
It really was. And like I said, the yardage, it mattered as much as shutting down the drive. And now O.J. Bruin working from his own 22 as opposed to inside his own 20.
And Bruin will throw. Pump fakes. Going to throw it over the middle. Has a man. Caught out to the 41-yard line. And that's Gene Valentine with another catch. And this one will move the chains.
Yeah, I said earlier in the broadcast that O.J. Bruin is just really good at playing quarterback. You see the pump fake there. You see a beautiful, well-thrown ball there to Valentine. And he may not have the attributes that some of the veterans have at this point, but he will. And he already has a great set of tools from which to play quarterback, and he's only going to get more dangerous, not only in his career, but as this season goes on, Eric.
Looking for his first career win here in the majors. Bruin shuffling in the pocket. He's going to go down. Tucker Lewis getting in there off his block and nailing him at the 35-yard line for a loss of 6.
Tucker Lewis looked like he pulled out the nail gun and tried to nail O.J. Bruin's ankle to the turf. That, of course, is against SFL rules and is generally frowned upon in society.
Frowned upon in several situations, I would think. Bruin going to throw it out. Stumbling out of the backfield is Ezekiel Love, and he will lose more yardage back to the 33-yard line, and Portland is buried with a 3rd and 18.
And now, do you take a shot here at 3rd and 18? They've had some success in the long passing game. They've been able to get guys open on occasion. Lozano Jr. has beaten this full times. Vandelay and Valentine have connected with big throws. I wonder if they're going to take a shot here.
The passing game has been electric for the Fleet. We'll see if they go deep here. Bruin going to air it out into coverage and incomplete. Good coverage by Troy Lowshaw to knock the football away. Brings up 4th down and another punt here in overtime.
And I just like that he decided to take a shot at it. And this really just is great defense by Stack and Paper. He does get some help, but really he had the situation under control. Warner had a chance to go up. Stack and Paper's up there first. Gets a finger on it. Great defense by Stack and Paper.
Might have been a little bit of miscommunication there as Loshaw was playing center field looking for the pick. Stack and Paper doing the same as he was in coverage. Might have ended up being an interception had there been more communication out on the field by Baltimore. Instead, it'll be a punt for Portland. Fair catch called for and made by Bolts right around the 30-yard line. Mark him down at the 32 with 3:02 to go here in the first overtime.
Jack Wigmore, I wonder if that trigger finger is getting a little itchy. I wonder if he wants to throw it down the field. Just take a shot. And they're here on the West Coast. They're going to get back on a plane and go back to Baltimore. And he might just be thinking, you know what? The Pacific Northwest is beautiful, but I've had enough. I want to get out of here.
See if they get out of here on this drive. Wigmore gonna uncork one. Middle of the field. Clutch grab by the Vultures as Chima will slide down to the turf at the Portland 44-yard line. Big play there as we get a look at both of the wide receiver threats for Baltimore.
Yeah, two receivers well over 100 yards at this point. Chima just running a nice post route. Bit of a low ball. He makes the adjustment, brings it in. Baltimore plus territory.
Wigmore going back to the gun. Hazard is sidecar right. Three wide out, split across the formation. Wigmore near sideline, caught by Irvin, close to a first down. Actually, they're going to mark him out of bounds. And we've seen Irvin on a couple of occasions not able to get his feet in bounds. But the booth is going to actually review this one and make sure that he did get his feet in bounds this time.
And there have been plays where he was out of bounds. There have been plays when Irvin has been extremely out of bounds. I think this was of the lesser variety. And I didn't get a great look at it the first time. And based on this thing, I'm not sure I'll get a great look at it here.
I know in real time, it definitely looked like he got a foot in bounds.
After review, the pass has been ruled complete. The catch was
Oh, wow.
And Tim Johnson happy along the Baltimore sideline as they have ruled in his favor, and Baltimore will get the catch on that play for 9 yards. And that'll bring up 2nd and 1 as opposed to 2nd and 10.
And depending on how you feel about your field goal kicker at this point, this is on the cusp of field goal range. This would be a 52-yard field goal from right here.
You want to get as
obviously
close as humanly possible. Yeah, absolutely. Hazard with a good spin
And
move. He
this will
brings it
help.
to the outside, and that's going to be the ball game. Baltimore is going to ice it in overtime on the road in the Pacific Northwest. Baltimore with the win.
And Jimmy Hazard just following his blocks, going right up the middle. This Portland defense has been on the field a long time, especially in the second half. And just a spin move there, gets a big block, boom, right there. And there's nobody else. They can't reach him. Jimmy Hazard, the rookie, in his second game, ices it for the Vultures.
And a much more productive second week of action for Jimmy Hazard. 7.6 yards a pop unofficially, and gets a rushing touchdown here in week 2. And that will ice the ball game here for Baltimore as they move to 2-0, and Portland, with the heartbreaker, will move to 0-2 as we can look at the final stats and highlights.
Yeah, and if you're Portland, you have to be feeling good about what you did against a team that hung 57 on another SFL opponent just a week ago. They were right there. They were in this game. They just had too many of these. Ivory Irvin, 7 catches, 172 yards. Mac Chima, 7 catches, 134 yards. And then Lloyd Graham Jr., who in some drives kept the chains moving just by himself, had 11 catches. These are just potent wide receivers. They're going to do this to a lot of teams this year. Portland, you have that to build on. Nelson Lozano Jr. and a handful of others helping O.J. Bruin take what I would say be maybe another step in his development as an SFL quarterback. Jack Wigmore, 39 of 48. He was absolutely outstanding, 81% completion rate, 9 yards per attempt. Derek, how do you like getting a first down every time your quarterback throws the football?
Well, how do you like it for Jimmy Hazard, right? His first career rushing touchdown in the majors ends up being a walk-off in overtime to win the ball game for your team. That's got to feel good. And T-Roy Gaines has got to feel good as well, since his mistake there set up overtime to start with. But that's what makes good teams. Teammates will pick each other up. Hey, that's all right. We'll get them on the next one. And sure enough, Baltimore eventually comes out on top.
I think we had two very strong teams here. Two very good competing units on both sides of the ball. I think for Portland, you got to find ways to get O.J. Bruin some more chances to take chances. And you see that throw there. Megan Valentine, some plays turn out bad, and some of them wind up smelling sweet like a rose, like that one there. And you got Wigmore, who's the devil-may-care, throwing a ball down the field. O.J. Bruin is going to approach that, maybe not this season, maybe not next, but he made some big throws in this game. And if you're Portland, you got to think that he's got to figure more into the game plan in the coming weeks of season 17.
And we've got some gunslingers in the SFL, but man, Jack Wigmore is at the top of the list, slinging the football around as he throws for close to 500 yards through the air here today. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. As we get a look at the player of the game, none other than Jack Wigmore. 40 of 48, 476, 3 TDs, no picks, a 128.8 QB rating. Well, on behalf of Josh Circle, Tyler Falk, and Justin Reside in the Stats Truck, executive producer and commissioner Cameron Irvine, my name is Eric Vincent. We want to thank you for tuning in to this presentation of the Simulation Football League live on FTF Twitch. We'll see you next week from the convention, live in League City.